right, so we'll go ahead and then call the meeting to order. And for old business, one of the things that we really wanted to try to do is work through these items on the agenda and discuss just as a group and come to terms about COD rules, responsibilities, and just really get that hammered out. And we don't have a lot else going on, so this is kind of a good opportunity to really work as a group to just make sure that we're all on the same page and really define those roles, responsibilities, and our mission statement and those kind of things.
Can I just... No guest speakers, no Linda Hayes, no one in the audience?
No.
Nope. So just as a note, though, seeing that there's no public present for comment, we don't need to do anything. We don't need to move it, or we don't need to make a motion or anything, but I just said that public comment is closed unless someone walks in and you feel that it's appropriate to open that section back up.
Okay. Yep.
So, but as soon as no one's here, we can move on to that.
Does that stay on the agenda, that piece, or?
So the fun is, because it was new on our agenda, that's why I thought the paragraph explaining what the process was. Eventually, I think maybe next month, that can go to a footnote and have a little star of public comment, so that way it's not
The first thing.
right, the first thing you're reading on there. It's just, it's going to show up on this as a footnote. Eventually that can come off, because I just want to make sure people know the policy.
Right, and which was something that we discussed at the last meeting.
Right, yes, and that's why I kind of wrote it out, long form. Eventually that can be shortened maybe, or even just move to a footnote, and then eventually it can come off, because eventually that'll be our policy for public comment. But since it's new, I just thought I should show it.
Okay.
Well, I had a problem with that because other meetings I've gone to, they say 5 minutes, but they can go beyond based on how it's going. When you use the word limited, that maxes it out. Right now, we get someone that has to verbally communicate. 2 minutes will fly by before I probably got 5 sentences off, which is the way we're talking about. So if you're going to say, maybe limited to, just the wording would be better. Because the Iowa Commission is going, and we'll have people hopefully more that volunteer more and talk. If they're kind of shy or, I mean, you saw me the first time I went to these meetings, I cleaned up as fast as I could. So I'm just saying, in regards to human nature and disabilities, people get very nervous. I mean, this line is up to, because of the way will be limited to.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first draft, and this was taken from about 2 or 3 other commissions that I know have this specific language on there, but, I mean,
It could be
since we
maybe.
barely use it, I mean, since it's very rarely used,
Yeah.
I just do want to set, or I do think it's smart to have a set time limit. That way, I know, we're not the select board where we're going to have a line of 50 people lined up to speak, so, it might be limited to, is maybe how it can be changed. I mean, I
No, it
do,
may be limited to, yeah, that's
Yep.
better, thank you.
I do think we keep a 10-minute.
Well, I think that's what, and I thought what we said was, where's the 10 minutes? Didn't we say that if there are 2 people, they share the 10 minutes?
Yeah.
If there are,
Yeah.
so they would be 5 and
So
5.
ultimately, the first 5 people to sign in, and,
Right.
and we can also, if it's a heavy topic or something, we can make exceptions to it,
Right,
but as
So
a general,
generally, if you put the word limited, you can't get more disclosure that they have a need of what's going on in the conversation. And it comes across as, limiting right to the board members to ask a question. If they're coming to give us information, let's suppose, for example, my expertise is in hydraulics, and you start talking about hydraulics, I'm going to, want to talk to you more to explain it.
right, but the public comment is really for the public to raise items, concerns, or good graces on things that aren't on the agenda, or things that they think should be added to the agenda, or a topic of the day type of thing. So a 2-minute period of time, unless it's a specific accommodation for somebody, I think is sufficient to do that. Again, we don't have lines of people in here doing public comment. If we do, then maybe we can revisit it. But I will,
You see, this is also public record, and it's acting like we're being, too strict.
well, it's actually not, it's very common in other boards, John, it's very common throughout the Commonwealth for these types of things here, because of the nature of the boards and the limited time that the boards meet, and the work that they actually have to do. So limiting public comment is well within the scope. But I will change that at least the first sentence, the public comments will be limited to maybe limited to 2 minutes per individual. And that, I
went to the meeting till it's like 5 minutes, they would say, even before the selectmen say 5 minutes, and when they go to them, usually it's 15 to 16 minutes per person. Which makes, like, you're right, that's the meeting, that's a lot.
well, that's the exception, not necessarily the rule that's followed. I mean, it's a fluid thing, so let's see where it goes with that, but I will change that first language.
Do we need to vote on that? Okay.
And so this would only apply to if it wasn't already on the agenda?
Right. This is
Okay.
public coming in just to.
Okay, and we're not prepared, okay.
And we don't know, someone.
Okay.
And someone
Okay.
could come in and say, hey, I was at X, Y,
Yeah.
and Z, and they had X, Y, and Z problems.
Yeah,
And
Can you look
it's-
into
It's
it?
more of a listening session for us,
Right.
okay.
to see if it's something, we don't even have to necessarily respond. We don't have to have that conversation. It's the idea of, it's giving the public a chance to actually have us speak. So, and then we can decide throughout the process whether or not it's something we add to the agenda. or not. Since it,
Alright, discussion of COD roles and responsibilities within local government.
it's 3 and 1. Okay, so this, oops, sorry.
Last time we talked about our advisory role. And then we're just we're trying to sort of parse that out a little bit to be clear or to.
Well, and I think this would be the spot where we could focus on the mission statement as the mission statement is really, that was taken direct, and I feel bad that Linda's not here, because I think she's going to be a great addition to this. So,
Because she really wanted to know what the mission statement was, because every meeting.
well, I mean, she's aware of it, but she's also, I think she does this
She
professionally,
has a business
so,
background, so
so
she's.
I almost, and I hate to say it,
No,
I almost want to hold off until she can actually be present,
Yeah.
because I really want her input on this, just from her
You mean to
experience.
speed up the
I mean,
meeting? Okay, I make a motion to table it for next week, next month. Okay, any second?
I'll second it.
Here we go.
We have to,
You do,
So-
good.
Well, hang on one second, Jeff.
On that speech.
Hang on one
You
second.
explained that very well.
Are we
No, if I can just be heard on this, I think we need to have something because
do you need to get the?
we have to get the budget finalized for the town treasurer.
Yeah, no, I think he was doing item 3.
Right, no, I know that, but that's part of what
Oh,
the
okay.
budget piece includes, so.
Okay, so just hold on one second. So the motion was by John.
If you want to limit to the expression of the mission statement, I revise the motion to say that. Anybody second that?
So would that be 3A1? That one, because that's where the mission statement would come up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And would that be?
I need a second.
Yeah, so I know it's been made a motion, now we'll just go for discussion, because I think Athena has something she wants to raise.
I just want to know with the budget, what is it that we were going to, can
It's hard because so just not to like jump over.
we,
this, but-
I move that we go to the budget discussion first, can we do that? So that we can, because in that budget discussion will come the roles and the mission of the Disabilities Commission. That's what we need to present as of tomorrow to Nancy Holt, so we can go into the budget. Because she knew about this meeting tonight.
All right, so John, did you hear that since the budget's being worked on and finalized, they were actually waiting on us to get an updated mission statement, which can always be tweaked later, but if we feel like this is something that we want to address here tonight, we can do that. I mean, it's
Well,
just,
the problem with the budget that we've had in the past in every position is that it's the smallest budget of all the committees and commissions. There's even, I think I looked it up, it's like 1/3 of the next lowest one. So we always try not to earmark too much funds and put it in this. Like say, this is office supplies and so on.
Okay,
Well,
we can have that
we
discussion
can-
at the budget. Right now, there's a motion on the table to there's a motion on the table to table 3I. Okay, so is there a second?
so Michelle had seconded it.
Yes,
Um,
and that won't affect the budget for tomorrow.
Well,
That's why we need to do, no, it will.
Oh,
That's
it
why
will.
we need the
Oh, okay.
mission
so,
statement, we need to do that.
3AI includes part of the mission
Right.
statement discussion,
Oh,
so.
okay.
So, John, just out of curiosity, would you withdraw your motion, or are you keeping your motion on the floor? If you withdraw it, then we can talk about
My
it.
my motion was so you can have a presentation, to discuss the mission statement, okay? The budget, you know, how you define the mission statement, I don't think it was part of the mission statement.
The mission statement's on the budget. It's the first part.
The goals and objectives.
The mission statement, it says FY 2019 budget mission statement, colon.
And so that's why
So,
we need to do that today. And also, with all due respect to Linda, who I think she's wonderful, she knew about the agenda. And she did she give you any information about what her thoughts were about the actual discussion when she called in sick? That she wasn't going
Oh,
to be
there's
here?
just an email,
Oh.
but she probably was.
because, John, when you're proposing the budget for the commission, the mission statement, the mission statement is one of the items that is included with that request. So I guess my question to you would be, if you withdraw it, then we can move to that discussion. If you maintain it, we have to call a vote. So it's up to you.
So you can't separate discussion of the missions,
Well, I think the priority is if it's due tomorrow, then we have to.
It was actually due a couple weeks ago.
And we have everything set on the budget,
Yeah.
and she knew
We don't
we were
wanna-
meeting, it's just,
These are mission statement changes.
yeah.
Right.
How can we really just, I don't see how you tie the mission statement and the budget together, because the budget can change.
So, John, we have something from the town that has the budget, the fiscal year 2019 budget, and the first thing on it is our mission statement and our goals.
So do you see that? Because that was sent over to you. Do you see
The mission statement, yeah.
do you see the budget?
Yep, it can be the budget. I'm trying to get it. I see it, major budget funds.
No, not on the agenda, our actual budget, the documentation.
Two-page document.
Oh, I didn't, this one?
Yes.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, so it does say major budget components, I think that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
The one title,
Yes.
John, that says Town of Scituate.
No.
I was looking at that, and I mentioned the past, and, okay.
Yeah.
Look at the page for the next subtitle down, it says major budget funds.
Okay, so
you're looking at the right one.
all right, so on top of that, it says mission statement, which we need to get to the town, this document.
Which I think takes priority.
So we need to look at the mission statement tonight. Well, I mean,
Yes.
that's what I would think, but if you want to take a vote, if to table that discussion, we can call a vote.
The mission statement hasn't changed from all these past years, correct? You're not changing that, you're just actually trying to enhance the budget.
No, we're looking at the mission statement. So would you like to take a vote on your on your suggestions to table it, or would you like to withdraw your motion?
The motion is not,
I can call a vote, that's fine.
The vote is not, yeah, trying to be fair. And then if it's like voted no by majority, then, you know, you go to the thing. So my motion stands.
Okay, so I'll call a vote, so I need to do this by roll, so I need to say, is there a specific order?
No.
Okay. John, the motion on the floor is to table item 3AI. John, how do you vote?
I vote to yeah, table.
Michelle, how do you vote?
To not table it.
Athena, how do you vote?
I vote to not table it as treasurer.
Jeff, how do you vote?
Not table it.
I vote to not table it, so the motion does not pass. So should we talk about this now, or should we talk about, it with the budget, or just talk about it?
Let's talk about it now.
Okay.
Let's do it now.
Okay, so, the best way would probably just be to look at the budget then.
With the commission statement.
And the mission statement states, "The Commission on Disabilities strives to enable the integration and participation of people with disabilities in the town of Scituate."
Mhm.
Anybody have any
So,
thoughts about that, or if Jeff
so
has
last,
seen other things?
last month, I passed out a couple things that I know I had a copy here, I just need to find it, because papers are flying in. So, let me take a look and see what I got, because I had it 2 seconds ago, I thought.
What was it? What are you looking for?
There were samples of other mission statements from
Oh, yes,
Cambridge,
yes.
from Worcester,
Oh,
so
yeah.
they were great examples of, shortening down. This is directly from the guidance that, from the guidance from MOD, which has this kind of overarching language of, sample goals and objectives of commissions, and that's what I believe John used in the last, when he was chair, I think he used that as the guiding, the goalposts for the commission. And, it gets lengthy, it's pretty long, I just can't remember where.
Well, I didn't change anything. You were making it, well, I made it before I started, and you guys had talked to them with Bob Tarantino.
Yeah, I think we inherited it.
But this book of duties as commission, and that was verbatim. I asked, he says verbatim, he says, it's perfect, I'm good with it.
Right.
And then go up to fix it.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to
All right, so I'm just pulling out sample mission statements from other towns that Jeff had provided at our last meeting.
And this is Situate's one compared to Cambridge, Boston, Sandwich. Cambridge's a little long, I think, but less wordy than what we have. So, if you want, I can read them. I mean, I don't know if you want to read them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for Cambridge, which is one of the unique ones where they actually fund the full-time position to manage the Commission on Disabilities. Their mission statement is the Cambridge Commission for Persons with Disabilities works to reduce and eliminate barriers that people with disabilities experience in our community. CCPD staff answer questions, provide information and referrals, and give technical assistance to individuals and families, public agencies, and private organizations. We promote equal opportunity and strive to eliminate discrimination against individuals with all types of disabilities. So I'm partial to Cambridge just because I like their wording, and I like their
Yeah, but they don't do their, I'm sorry, they're not completely accessible in the Cambridge itself, so, but that's a whole other thing.
Right, I mean, that's, right.
Right.
So for Boston,
I think that was too, I personally.
Well, it
think
wouldn't really apply to us
Right.
because we don't have a full-time
Right.
position,
It's too, yeah.
so we can't fulfill that.
So, and for Boston, our mission is to increase opportunities for people with disabilities by facilitating full and equal participation in all aspects of lives within the city of Boston. This includes reducing architectural, procedural, audit, and this is again may not be appropriate for us, attitudinal and communication barriers, as well as promoting equity in housing, education, employment, transportation, and civic activities. Our office works towards compliance with Title II of the ADA. We also provide information referral, architectural access review, and advocacy on disability issues. Again, Boston has full-time staff.
Sure.
Sandwich one, let's just take a look at that one. The Sandwich Commission on Disabilities is a committee consisting of 5 to 9 members appointed by the Board of Selectmen. The commission is charged with assisting in the inclusion and integration of people with disabilities in the activities, services, and employment opportunities of the community in accordance with the federal and state disability laws. The commission sponsors the Handicap Parking Enforcement Program, a group of volunteers that document and report handicap parking violations to local authorities. So I think the reason I was pulling these out was the fact that they're so vastly different. And they're not cookie cutter right from the
Right.
MOD language here. Typically, mission statements are 2 different sentences, so they're not a long
Right.
dissertation on what, on the commissions.
The one from Sandwich, I think applies the most to us, because I think a lot of the citizens of Scituate are wondering.
What was that again?
Who appoints us? So the fact that they clarify that they're appointed by the Board of Selectmen, which is the same situation for Scituate, I think it would be beneficial.
So-
Yes, and that we're volunteers. I
So-
think that's very important.
Yeah.
So how about this then? So our mission statement starts with the Commission on Disabilities as an advisory board, and it should be appointed by the select board, right? I'm sorry, this was
Oh,
right from our website.
okay.
All right.
So a group of volunteers appointed by the select board.
Well, it's an advisory board, and that's what,
But I think they need to, well, I think they,
At every appointment, they ask, and I was told before I came on board, to go to a couple of meetings first. And that makes the world of difference because it can be overwhelming, and once you're on the board, it's hard to replace the member and find it. So if you're going to change appointee, you also should include, attend 1 or 2 meetings first, so because they ask that question on the appointee, that's Chuck.
I disagree. I respectfully disagree. I
This
think,
is, I apologize, but this is one of the few advisory commissions to have. And technically, you're supposed to be advising and not just listening.
There's an advisory commission, there's a planning board commission, there's a recreation commission, they all advise the select board.
It perfectly says we advise how to do that.
Well, I can see what he's saying.
Training, certification.
Wouldn't be part of the
It's a
mission.
difference when other people say, how do you know that's back and forth? And it's like, you can't be a puppet.
I don't
really
think,
that
I don't
you guys
think so.
go do MOD training and so on, because you'd be surprised. And
I don't think this has anything to do
going
with the
the,
mission statement.
regional meetings, they come at him, and he was trying to calm them down to find that they were saying the problems back and forth. And Jeff's thing was, his first statement, our job is advisory. And that's
I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah, John, I think we're all on the same page on that. I just think we need to define.
There's no sense of advice.
I think do we need a definition do all the 5 of us need a definition of advisory? I think we're thinking advisory in different ways, so.
Advisory, not enforcement, not, I think.
Advice, that's advisory, not telling people what to do and advising. Advice versus enforcement and advising
So
Activists.
let's
Right.
look at Haverhill's. Their mission statement is, we are a commission, all appointed by the mayor, who volunteer our time and skills to represent and ensure equal treatment for the disabled citizens of our community. We educate people on the ADA of 1990, as well as state regulations related to persons with disabilities. We advocate in critical areas such as, and they list about 7 different things here. I almost think that's,
I like that. The only thing I would respectfully change is instead of equal, is reasonable. Because I'm sorry, as a disabled person, I know that I'm not going to get equal access to everything. So I think reasonable is a better.
well, I think in a world where
Right, we're trying to open up
that's
the
the language of the codes.
And when that comes to various-
I know,
The law, I don't think it is.
So,
I think
is that the best way to do it, for example, when you talk about crossing the street, you may have a manhole with a drainage system. Okay? Now, you don't really say a wheelchair is not gonna do this or someone with a cane. But if you were to say a stroller is gonna have a hard time, or a person in high heels, that general public comes in and they're on board. So you're arguing barriers, because that same thing that helps people in a wheelchair and with a cane helps someone in high heels and pushing a stroller.
Thank goodness I don't wear high heels.
I was just gonna say, like, and pushing a stroller, John.
You were one of those, right?
Not when I was pushing a stroller, I wear high heels now, but.
So,
I don't know.
So in reality, I think Haverhill is probably the strongest candidate we
Right.
should
I
consider,
like-
just because of
Yeah.
their tone.
One thing
and
about
that-
the language,
It is,
there's,
this is limiting it. Now you're taking things away.
It's a
Now it's
status.
walked it.
John, just,
Hang on.
John, let me speak, please. Instead of disabled citizens, like,
No, I think the language needs to change.
okay,
Right.
like
Yeah, I'm not-
citizens with disabilities, just,
Right,
Right.
individuals with disabilities,
Yeah.
however. But I like their mission statement,
Leave
their
it as
starting
citizens.
of, we are a commission, all
In-
appointed by the select board.
Residents?
The select,
Residents? I like that,
Board of Selectmen,
right.
because select board,
oh, that's a specific, that hasn't been adopted yet.
yeah. it
Right.
Oh,
sounds-
is that actually different? I was just doing it.
It is.
Right.
Yeah, Board of Selectmen,
Until more,
as volunteers,
Yeah, who volunteer our time and
to
skills.
serve,
To
to s-
represent, oh, I'm sorry.
or to serve the citizens of the town of Scituate with, you could even do with exceptional needs. Because I
I
think
kind of like that. But here's
because
the
they're
rest of the
phasing
way.
out like disabilities is
The
not,
town administrator.
doesn't really cover, yeah.
You're taking them out.
right, because you're getting the,
I'm all for saying the mayor or selectman, but in the handbook, they have to point out town administrator's name comes up for position comes up a lot.
But we're not- we're playing that as select
If you
board.
say selectman, that person doesn't have that much say. They haven't like that.
no, but it's not up to them, this is up to us, they're not here. If they wanted to come and discuss this, they would have been here tonight. They knew about this meeting, so I don't think we have to worry about the Board of Selectmen.
Or the town administrator hasn't started.
Right.
And I wasn't appointed by the town administrator. That would be, I think that's a town manager, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
When they
think we can
appoint, we
even
were-
get into that because the
Yeah.
whole title's changing.
Right.
I just wanted to get that out there, so it's not like you didn't talk about this.
So-
I know I can do anything, so.
So,
I had squared off with the town administrator several times, and I said, listen,
Right, but we're not doing, that's not what we're doing now.
right. So, to start, and I don't know if I got all of it, so,
Okay.
and I don't think I did. So, the thought would be, we are a commission, all appointed by the Board of Selectmen, who volunteer our time and skills to serve the town of Scituate. That's where I got.
To serve the
To serve.
town of Scituate and
In-
it's the needs of, in those with exceptional needs. To serve the town of Scituate in those with exceptional needs.
So, can we, I'm just thinking, I know that,
I like that language a lot.
I don't like being called, I don't think that we're.
You're
so,
exceptional.
so let me toss this up. Persons with, hang on, John, hang on one second. John, hang on one second.
No,
So,
so they get put up.
persons with disabilities is the
Yes,
common
yes.
nomenclature now.
Right.
We could do, although this is more for the emergency world, access and functional needs, but there's not too many, like, ably, like differently abled is,
Right.
those
No.
are not exactly, I mean, they mean well, and I know the intents are well there, but sometimes it's not really as empowering as just saying we are, the ADA and DOJ has gone to individuals with disabilities. So if we could go that route, I think it's
I
just
think
It's
a
a
little
little
more.
clearer, yeah.
And then
And I would say, ask one phrase to be included, how are we gonna rate a disability? Are we gonna say by the Department of Justice, how they cause disability? Because some citizens, that's not a real disability. I don't wanna,
John, it's all going to depend on what they actually are coming to the commission for. If they're looking for a plate or placard, they're going to have to follow the RMV's definition of disability. If they're coming because of an ADA thing, then it's the ADA definition. So that's the that's so I don't necessarily think we need to define what a disability is. I think we just need to define that we serve the town of Scituate and the needs of individuals with disabilities.
Yes.
And I do like their second line, which is we advocate, or we can change that, we advocate in critical areas such as, and they do a small little list.
I like that.
So,
But do we take an active role in advocacy? So that's, it's not as though we did one training, we did one accessibility training. We don't do many trainings throughout town. So I don't know that we necessarily advocate, we support something. Do you know what I mean? I just don't see, I don't see us getting a lot of people in for a training, because I don't think that's our role, because we're not going to, I'm not going to go out and get trained to give a training, I'm sorry.
When we're trained by MOD and other agencies, they want us to go out in the public and educate them and train them. There is an example, there are pamphlets, I don't know if you were around at the time when it came to restaurants, how to respectfully address a person disabled, because a lot of times the waiter or waitress will ask the caretaker to order and so on, and overlook the real person that is disabled. There's certain etiquettes they want to just open the doors. Okay? That's a training.
so I'm just looking
Well,
for
I don't
What's
know
that pamphlet that we looked at a long time ago?
Well, I don't think we can include such specific items.
No, I don't think so.
In our mission statement, it has to be more generalized.
Right.
But we can say supporting the advocacy.
Right.
advocates of apostle attorney.
Yeah.
I'm just looking up synonyms of it. Champion, counsel, defender.
There's so much training courses we can go to teach other people. That's what, we're not new. When I first saw this thing, and that scared the living crap out of me. I'm like, I don't know half this stuff. And I said to Jeff, teach me, stay around, teach me, I'll do it. What aren't you, well, John, I don't have this new loss and I don't have this. So I was doing that. Plus, one of you nursing, okay? But I also come from mechanical and structural engineering, which is fantastic for some of these barriers.
So,
And when it comes to technology, in regards to the machine, the lifts and so on.
So John, I understand, we're very thankful for your skill set that you bring to the table. So what we're trying to just clarify on our mission statement.
so right now, we are the commission, all appointed by the Board of Selectmen, to volunteer our time and skills to serve the town of Scituate and the needs of individuals with disabilities, to ensure equal treatment, and that's, or to serve the town of Scituate and the needs of individuals with disabilities.
To advocate for, I mean, do
Well,
we,
and that's what we're getting to. We educate people on the ADA, as well as state so their languages. We educate people on the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as state regulations related to persons with disabilities. We advocate in critical areas such as, so
We, moving in the right direction.
that's, I like that, we
we
support.
provide information and referral.
Information
Yes,
referral.
yes, because I prefer, I don't think we need to go out and,
Well, to
Tell
be an
people what to do.
advocate is a big
Yeah.
responsibility.
Right, like even in the education field, if
Right.
you're an advocate, like that's a very specific title given to very specific people
Right.
with a very specific pay grade and
Mhm.
responsibilities and formal education.
like,
So
we make referrals to people, to the programs, people, institutions that can help them. So if someone comes to us, and-
I don't agree, because
Well-
there's so many forces. Wow.
So we educate people on the ADA, as well as, John, I'm sorry,
John, Jeff is speaking.
I know you're not, okay. So we educate people on the ADA, as well as other state regulations related to individuals with disabilities. We provide information referral in critical areas such as, then they list housing, employment, education, transportation, voting, communication, health services, public accommodations, and access to program services and facilities that are available. I like that, because information and referral can be a lot of different things.
right, see, we educate people on the ADA, I'm not sure how that works, like, if they come to talk to us, we can provide information, but we have to be told before what they want to know, because we have to look up what's going on in this particular area of the law before we educate. I don't think that we're trained to educate people. I think they need a lawyer for that.
How about we provide information
Yes.
to people?
Yes. I just feel like it's too much.
Or we provide resources,
yes.
Referrals, yeah.
Yeah.
Resources.
Okay, I've been trying to avoid putting complaints in left and right, and so that educating people. For example, if I go in someplace, the bathroom's not getting a plan, I'd rather educate them than put a complaint in. And what you're doing, I feel, is making someone who can train and can show something, say, listen, I can't train it, so I gotta put a complaint in. The town's gonna be pretty pissed off at that, because
John, but we're not really changing it, we're just taking out,
Please watch your language and be respectful.
because you're on TV, whether you know it or not. It's being recorded, so. So with that said, we're just taking out some of the words that we feel are too strong, and we want to loosen them a little bit, because we can say we educate, but we can also say we provide information, resources, and referrals, which could be, by all definitions, an education, an education of something. So it's not like we're lessening it, we're just making it easier language and less strong language to fit what
What
is.
about technical assistance?
That's a very strong word, but that technical assistance falls under information and resources. So there's it's still there, it's just we're changing some of the wording, so it's less,
Right, we
less
provide
buzzwordy.
information, so we provide referrals for technical assistance to people that get paid to do this. It's like supporting all the institutions that can do this.
Well, I hear that, and it kind of, some of the best people, okay, volunteer to do things. We're volunteering our expertise to help them out. Some people aren't trained or experienced, and they just go, well, we've been exposed to these things. One of the reasons why we're on the board is that you have somebody disabled in your family disabled yourself. So we've lived there or seen it or witnessed it. Someone could just, go to college back and forth and, they don't have a heart and soul, it's just a job. Volunteers, put their heart and soul.
Okay, right, so let's just work on
That's the way you're applying volunteers don't mean much.
we're gonna get focused back on the mission statement. So let's read what we have now and leave to take a vote.
All right, so what we have now is for the mission statement. We are a commission, all appointed by the Board of Selectmen, who volunteer our time and skills to serve the town of Scituate and the needs of individuals with disabilities. We provide information, resources, and referrals to people on the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as state regulations related to persons with disabilities. We provide information and referral in critical areas such as housing, employment, education, transportation, voting, communication, health services, public accommodations, and access to programs, services, and facilities that are available. I think that's a strong statement.
I think
I
it's
think
I
good.
would like to
excellent.
include one more thing. Research local problems of people with disabilities. That means if we see it coming, we can be preventive also.
Well, but that would be under public accommodations, or that could be under access to programs, services, and facilities that are available. It's just simple language that everybody is going to be able to understand and get a good grasp on what the commission is doing. What we are fearful of is that people have high expectations of what a commission can do where they might be misinformed. So we want to ensure that they know right off the bat that, look, we're information referral. We will run it to the flagpole up to our appointing authority if there's no resolve on our end or if there's something we can't do. But primarily, we're going to be information referral, not just sending them off to somewhere else, but also referring on to the right department.
You passed the buck. I didn't like that.
Well, it's not
That's
that
not what we said.
But people should know that if they come to us with a critical item, we as a commission don't have the authority to change it. We as a commission would be advising the entities that could have the authority to change it, but it's ultimately on that authority to actually implement the change. So we're just making it clear here in the mission statement that we serve people with disabilities, but we're doing it through providing information and resources and referrals on these specific topics. And I just think it's a stronger, more accurate statement of of our commission.
I move to accept that statement as the mission
I would
statement.
like to hear it one more time first, please, before you make a motion on it.
Well, she made the motion, so she has the right to do that. I'm
You
sorry.
can read it again.
The motion is still on the floor, though.
So do you want to withdraw your
I'll
motion?
withdraw my motion.
No, that's what I was saying. I'm
Okay.
saying it's still sitting on the floor, it'll get a second if it needs.
Okay.
Oh,
But I
okay.
think that's kind of where I was going with
Okay.
it. But, so the mission statement, so John, we are a commission, all appointed by the Board of Selectmen, who volunteer our time and skills to serve the town of Scituate, and the needs of individuals with disabilities. We provide information, resources, and referrals to people on the Americans with Disabilities, I think we need to work that sentence, but provide information, resources, and referral regarding the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as state regulations related to persons with disabilities. We provide information and referral in critical areas such as housing, employment, education, transportation, voting, communication, health services, public accommodations, and last but not least, access to programs, services, and facilities that are available. We could put with it,
I'm
but
just faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. So with that said, there is
With that said, there is a motion on the table to accept this as the Commission on Disabilities mission statement. Is there a second?
I will. May I have that? I will second.
It was seconded by Jeff, so we'll do a roll vote. John, how do you vote?
I'm voting no because I don't see why you're changing it, so I see things missing.
Okay. Jeff, how do you vote?
I think we're missing it as opposed to broad.
Okay, we're just voting now. Athena, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Michelle, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Okay, and I vote in favor as well. Okay, motion carries.
Now, can I ask you, because I didn't write it, can you type it up and just send it to me so because I got to get this all to Nancy tomorrow? Thank you. Memorize it. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. That's the first one.
So now this can be taken off the agenda?
So,
Yes.
yeah, I think for 3A2 through 7. Through 7.
7.
I think I want to make sure that, and they're not as pressing, I think I'd like to wait for Linda to be back for it. So kind of following what John was saying originally, I'd like the motion that we table 3A2 through 3A7 until next month.
So there's a motion made to table items 3A2 to set through 7. Is there a second?
Second.
Michelle is seconding the motion. So we'll take a roll vote.
I'll second it.
Michelle seconded that. So we'll take a
Okay.
roll vote. John, how do you vote?
I vote to table all that, going, you said 3A2 to 3A, 3A7.
So that's a yes. Michelle, how do you vote?
In favor.
Athena, how do you vote?
In favor, as long as it doesn't, we already said the mission statement, the role. So I'm looking at the role of the Commission on Disabilities.
I think we can,
So maybe we can cut that out.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll-
Yeah, we'll do that later. Okay, yes, I favor it, I'm sorry, I favor it.
Athena's in favor. Jeff?
I vote in favor.
Okay, I vote in favor as well. So motion carries. So item 3B, Scituate Beach access Minot Beach. This,
I'm confused on one thing, just to clarify something. You went to the road thing for the sake of the budget. But we didn't talk about the budget.
this
So
is,
why did
it's
we
coming
do
up,
all that?
that's under new business. So right now we're talking about Scituate Beach access Minot Beach. So this was the issue that Karen had emailed to you.
Yes. And she was going to come.
And she was going to come.
Didn't we ask her that if she had a,
Come to the meeting, and also it was kind of beyond the scope of the commission
Well, she was gonna tell you, she was gonna come to tell
Yes.
us what we,
Do you want to reach out and ask if she'd like
Yeah.
to come to a meeting and,
Yep, she came to the event, but obviously,
what's that?
January's gonna be
No,
too crazy.
well, and it probably doesn't,
Right.
wants to come each access time,
Right.
so.
Or,
Yes.
may I suggest that we at least find out what the question or
Right.
what the scope of her request was?
right,
And if she could provide that to you, and then you could bring it back to the.
right, and she did provide it to me, and then I sent it to the entire group,
Okay.
because
I wonder if we.
you,
We
we
may
did,
or not.
and then the event came, and then
Oh, right.
oh, the
she did
accessibility
the
event.
accessibility,
Oh.
and she came to the event, but obviously that,
Okay,
so,
got lost.
So
You
we-
could ask if she has any other.
I have it in an
concerns.
email, yep.
that she-
Then could we ask that you resend
Yes.
it, and we will
I
bring up.
move that you resend it, because
Yes,
it's all lost. No.
I don't think so.
In general, the biggest topic was the beach in that was closed due to accessibility.
right.
Right, but we gotta find out what Karen wanted, so.
And there were, I think, a combination of erosion, and they worked on the seawall.
And if they were making improvements,
Right,
it's
so, yeah,
necessarily would
so
not
we
trigger,
have
that was
to-
triggering
yeah.
anything.
Right, so we'll find out. We'll push this over to January?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I did site inspection, so you know, so I'll help you guys up when you get there.
Okay.
But when did who did the site inspection?
I did.
When did
When?
you do that?
I've done it when they were running for the election, because that was a big topic, so I wanted all the candidates to know what the issues were. And part of it was that the two part where the steps are, there's no parking there.
Was that when were you chairperson at that time?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, just for clarification, that's not something that we do
Right.
anymore, where somebody would just go out and do site visits on their own without
No.
bringing,
The commission.
without bringing it back to the commission to.
And what the issue with beach, it was summertime.
I hear you, but the issue now is that we don't just go out and do things on our own, we bring things back to the commission, so as a group, we can decide if it's something that meets the criteria that we want to address, so that all members know what's going on.
I was out there doing fact finding.
Exactly, so, but I'm just clarifying that now going forward, that's not
If you send
something
me
that,
up there, it would be a complaint. Big difference.
now going forward, things get brought back to the Commission on Disabilities. We don't go out and do our own thing and fact find or inspect or any of that. Okay, so, we're on to,
How
well,
do you inform each other?
that's what we meet once a month to talk. That's why we don't go out and just do things on our own.
Because we're a public body, John. We need to, there's
Yeah,
certain
open.
rules and procedures we need to follow.
Correct, and open and transparency, and we don't just do things on our own.
I'm at a beach, see something, okay.
You
You can
can bring,
bring that back to the commission at the next meeting that we have.
okay. So, item 3 is C, acceptance of past minutes. If everybody had a chance to read Jeff's November 8th boundary.
I thought it was going to be a shorter one. It ended up being pretty long, so.
So did everybody get a chance to read these, or would you like to review them?
No, you sent them to us.
Hmm?
Yes,
Yes,
I move to accept them as the minutes.
I have a, I need a little leniency here because I'm trying to breathe before you rush and start accepting things. Could you ask if anyone else has any information before you make motions?
I just did, I said, did everybody get a chance to read?
And I was trying to breathe and about to say something, and I started coughing.
Okay, so would you have something to
I
add?
did read it. I had a question on 2-1. There it says, John raised the concern on the agenda.
Mhm.
And I pointed out there's one line missing here, that because it was tabled for the next meeting, that it has to be on the agenda because we voted on to have it there. And you're going a month, but you just think you can't do it. That was voted on, to table it. Now, whether you want to discuss them, that's one thing, but if it's tabled, you can say table again. And you talk about transparency, well, you know, if you vote on something, whether you like it or not.
So this is the third conversation we've had in regards to where old items are found on the agenda. Old items are found on the agenda under 3E4, and which we just voted to table again. So it was voted on and to table it. That's where old items can be found, and that's what we voted on to table so that we could have Linda here to discuss.
Well, I was
And
just saying that.
that's the same conversation we had
I
last
found
time.
that to change what I was pointing out. That's what I was trying to say. That I pointed out that it was tabled, and it's not in the comments. You want to say 3A, 3B, you know, do what you want. But you're not acknowledging that it was voted on to be tabled, which is the point I was making all those times.
Right, John, because it shows up on the agenda. So that second sentence that says that Mr. Dugan explained again that the former agenda items are going to be addressed under the current agenda item 3E4. Item 3E4 will address old agenda items to see if they are still active and/or need to remain as active items for the COD. That is still on, that's still on the agenda, John. I don't know what you're...
What you're saying, and I question that too.
I'm sorry? You cut out.
I kind of put why John was saying that.
What?
That was Jeff that said that.
That's why I said, hey, it was voted on to be tabled to the next meeting, that it should be on there. I don't think you heard any of that.
I heard everything last meeting, trust me. I heard everything last meeting. So
So that
but
was
we've
the
explained it to
Jeff
you
that we're talking
close to
about.
3 to 4 times.
I know, that this has nothing to do with John Dennehy.
Well, Jeff said John Denny had a comment, and he includes John Denny.
Wait. So I'm sorry, John, I'm a little lost. I
So
don't
do you
know
have
John.
something to add to the agenda?
I just wanted to make sure that it's worded, and I was pointing out that it was tabled and still wasn't done.
And we will point out again where to find old items on the agenda.
And I'll point out again that that wasn't done, yet still, all these months.
I don't understand, I'm having a hard time understanding that wasn't done yet still.
When it comes to this order, you do it. That so-called A3A1 to 2 is new business technically. It's old business before the other stuff.
Okay, I'm having a hard
I'm
time.
not talking about it's old business. This is new. When you didn't do that, it becomes old business, but old business after this, based on.
John, you are, John, no.
Yeah.
No, the agenda is set by the commission or by the chair every month. Just because we talked about something prior doesn't necessarily mean it stays as old business. It could be new stuff coming in, which could be new business.
Table it,
The-
okay, for the next meeting.
Yeah, and everything, right, I'm just gonna tell you flat out, the right procedures are being followed for these minutes and these agendas. So, I'm just telling you that, yes, we tabled certain topics, but rather than having a 20-page agenda, we have shrunk it down to that specific bullet item that we are going to get back to eventually. Unfortunately, Linda's not here, we can't get to it tonight, so we will get back to them to see if it's stuff that we want to continue. They haven't disappeared, nothing has disappeared. Everything is still there, it's just under one sentence rather than a 20-list bulleted item. If people are interested, John.
Jeff is speaking, Jeff is speaking, John, Jeff is speaking.
John,
What?
when we get to that section, we will be referencing an old agenda that you had put together. Those are the items we will be discussing. So if you need to look at an agenda to see if those old items are still there, please refer to, and it's still up on the website, the agenda from 9/13/2017. That is the agenda which has all of the old items that have been tabled month after month.
And can I add to that? I do remember, and this is the past minutes, you requested, Megan, that if Nautical 2, the restaurant, wanted to reach out to you to be put on the agenda, they could do that. They have not done that, so that's why they're not on the agenda also.
No, I didn't do that. I was asked back then how to get the information, and I explained that the planning board sent it, and I was looking for information from them, and they're asking us to advise them on the blueprints.
Well, but that's
Okay?
not, but
And I
that's,
handed everything back to Meg and still waiting to hear it. Now, at the last meeting that we had, that date, the night before, okay, the Board of Selectmen was discussing that topic. A week later, the planning board again was discussing that topic.
That's great. If they wanted to reach out to us, if they would like to reach out to us, they can absolutely reach out to
They
me.
did reach out.
They have not.
Try to got the information.
Well, that, they haven't since.
They were
Waiting for
told,
us to respond. That's the point I'm trying to make.
but we just agreed in our mission statement, but that we're not going to reach out, people have to come to us.
As told you, they did. That's how I got the information. They're waiting for our response.
Well, you didn't, well, no, that's,
I don't think anybody's waiting for us.
no.
So anyway, is there anything, any other changes that, we're on meeting minutes, are there changes, are there things that anybody would like to add? Okay, then there's a motion on the table to accept the meeting minutes from November 8th, 2017. Is there a second?
I will second.
Jeff seconded.
Or can I think I can second my own minutes.
I think I used to do that all the time.
I will second my own minutes.
Okay, so we'll take a vote. Athena, how do you vote?
I voted in favor of accepting.
Jeff, how do you vote?
Vote in favor of accepting.
Michelle, how do you vote?
I vote in favor of accepting it.
John, how do you vote?
I don't accept them.
So you vote no. So, and I vote in favor. So motion carries. Okay. The next, okay, new business, we have treasurer's report. Athena, if you'd like to.
I handed out copies, John, I handed out copies, I can email you copies of the report from Nancy Holt that she emailed to me today. Basically, for the 2018, okay, so look at the first page, year-to-date budget report.
So there's
There's 3 pages. Is that mine that has the notes? Yes, thank you. Mine with the notes. Okay, so we've spent so far we spent, added up. We have 5,600 in the account because 600 they're holding from summer of 2017 for we earmarked it for GATRA with the special needs kids. No one's applied for that money yet, or for anything from summer 2017, so they're holding it open. And other than that, we had money from the conferences, the accessibility conference, and that total was $385.75.
It's $385.75.
Yes. And, let's see, what else? Disabilities Commission materials.
Unpaid vouchers for the,
No, they're
No.
still holding it, but she doesn't think so, but she's still holding it. Disability Commission materials, $289.46. And that was office supplies from the accessibility event. And just so you know, I spoke to Nancy today. She said if there are things that we want to print out for the commission's meeting, we should get it to town hall a couple days before, usually the agenda, for example. They'll print it out, someone just has to pick it up. They'll print out enough copies for everyone. So for your minutes, for your agenda, or if there's anything that anything like this, she'll print them out for us and enough packages, and we'll just get someone to pick it up, she said.
So just for my notes, what balance currently remains in the account?
In our account?
Yes.
For,
For just a standard budget, the 5,000 that we typically get. I'm sorry, is that the 4793 down the bottom?
yes. Where is
So
it?
that's the handicap part.
Oh, yeah, no, the handicap parking's on the other side. 47935, is the handicap parking. She said, I hope you're gonna do the trust fund, the art fund, the MLD art thing again, because that would be great. I said, well, we won't know until February if they're doing it. So that, and,
Oh, so the ending budget that we have right now is 4,671.
yes,
That's
available budget.
One with 600 being held because of the gotcha thing.
Right.
And our current expenses are 385.75 and 289.46, which doesn't look like it's been taken out of the budget, right?
That seems
Yeah, no,
like,
it has been, because,
it should be less.
no,
Is that reading wrong?
yeah, no, our budget for, this was for our 2007, 2018. But then we just filled out for the next budget, next year's budget. So this is the budget that ends in June.
Okay, all right.
So this budget ends in June, but they're holding 600 from
The
the
previous
previous budget
which is why
for
we
the
were-
June,
Okay.
for the summer transportation, which I don't know if Godfrey did anything, she's still waiting. And she doesn't know who we should contact. Obviously, the principal, there was nothing, so
So
she doesn't want to let it go.
So if I were to say the fiscal year 18 budget, which we're still in cycle of,
Yes.
the balance is 4,600.
Mhm.
That's because we have 5,600 beginning balance because of the 600 that's been carried over from 2017.
Mhm.
And we have the awareness day expenses of 385 and 289, which will eventually be taken from the current budget
Mhm.
balance. Maybe to 4,600, I think it's, what I don't see is the 289 thing there, which will eventually come up. So, that's all. I mean, we don't need to go into detail.
Right, yeah.
Pennies
I'll
here,
get, I'll
we'll
get,
catch up by next
I'll
month.
get
so.
Nancy Holt to one of these meetings and explain, I had her today on the phone.
Okay.
And then for the handicap parking budget, you've got all those negative numbers are interest revenue, and so we've got 4,793.51 in the budget, and that was something that, she said, what are you gonna do with that budget? You, lots of things you can do, and then I talked to her about how someone had said something about when we were at the meeting with Conservation Commission, wouldn't it be nice to put a bench up or put we get another wheelchair for the feature? So she said, oh yeah, you can use that money. So
And that might be something we can use for mine since
right,
it's
if-
initiated.
right,
Accessibility.
yep, if that becomes, right.
And that's definitely out of all the beaches, I think, the most inaccessible.
So that will come up when we talk about, mind next time, or whatever.
Great. Anybody have any questions about the treasurer's report?
Yeah, I was trying to say, do you have a breakdown of each vendor so we kind of can expect what is needed in the future for next time?
Oh, we do, we have it, we
I
have
was
it.
gonna start planning things, because you was like, really like end of the gun last time, because it came.
Nobody, it was not, it was not something done, we were planning that for months, it was a one-day event that was, that,
We wasn't under the gun, we just thought we didn't have enough
The
food.
was told you wouldn't need anything, then it went to $200, and then it went to $4, then it went to $8.
No, that was the art that went from 125 to 147.50 of group. No,
The rent was minimal.
the event was $388.
We had put, and then we paid $200 for the police officer.
So nobody has anything further, moving on to item,
Can I make one thing for the future? So there's no animosity between other departments. Since we paid for the police department, you kind of think it's unfair that the person that the town sent, that didn't get paid, that had to volunteer, that we should actually pay them, so there's no animosity?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I suppose I work for a town, and this is my day off, and they told, oh, we need someone to go here, but.
Then he gets time and a half.
He gets paid.
They usually, and then the commissions to pay that, supposed to the town people, because.
We did pay that, John. That was part of the money that we paid out. That was for the police detail. Most of that money that we paid was for the police detail.
what about money for people that work for the town that also showed up, like the nurse and so on?
It's not for
It's
us.
not, it's not a
That's
decision.
a personnel
I-
issue. If they don't want to,
Typically, those positions are paid for, so I would think, but I mean, that's
Every position was.
something we could.
Everybody there was paid for, and I am sure that they worked it out with their supervisors and/or people in charge to figure out how they would be compensated for it. It's not, we can't double
That's
pay
not-
them. We can't double pay them,
no.
so.
Well, it's just like, some people, I was told, why are we paying for that?
We
I
weren't.
didn't have an answer, I said, I talked to my
We weren't.
commission first, I'm talking to you.
I mean, should we pay for the fire chief to come?
No,
I mean, this is not how,
Well, we can clarify,
I-
I'm pretty sure everyone was paid for the next.
I don't
I don't think that's an
Yeah,
issue.
I-
I don't, that's not an issue. If they don't want to come, they don't have to come. They'll find someone else.
right.
If they feel they're pressurized to keep their job, it's wrong.
I don't think
I don't
anybody in that
See that
scenario,
affecting the
John.
commission.
If you,
I think everyone really liked that we did that accessibility event. Everyone at Town Hall was very excited about it, and they're all supportive of another one.
I'm not saying that they're not.
Okay.
I think
so we're
that's
gonna-
beyond our scope.
All right, the 2019 budget. So everybody has copies of the 2019 budget.
I'm just trying to figure out what to write for that last one. I mean, I don't know what,
Which,
well, to capture the minutes, I mean, John's making allegations that people are coming to him saying that they're upset they had to do our fair when I really, I mean, I don't know where you're doing that, John. And I don't even know how to reflect this in a minute.
send them to us. If there's a
But I
As
don't-
I said, people ask me, how were these persons were paid for?
What,
Who asked
you?
Was it the town employee? Was it,
People in the town.
Well, tell them to come ask us.
tell them that the people who were,
Is that definitely paying for people that are doing it that we don't know about?
Excuse me?
I don't know, John, I don't know
John,
where you're
people
going
do,
with this.
I mean, the Council on Aging has awareness events. People hold awareness events often, and people attend these awareness events, or they don't attend these awareness events. And that's not a decision made by us, or that we should be involved in.
John,
This is a personnel issue, and have to reflect what you're stating in the comments in our minutes. I suppose we can say, John made allegations that,
Didn't make allegations, John asked, because this is asked me, how were the other?
John alleges that citizens
No, at the police person.
were complaining about taxpayer dollars. John
questioned taxpayer dollars being
John
used to
stated,
the town, the town's accessibility event, the commission's accessibility event.
The other people that work for the town being paid by.
everybody, I'm sure, not that everybody,
John, you know what, I can't even answer that. I know I represented MOD for a short period there, but I didn't bill MOD for my time for that day. So my time was donated. My time was donated. I'm assuming that the nurse has an obligation to do certain functions within the community that they serve. Pretty much everybody in town probably has that obligation, and this is a way of fulfilling that duty under their job description that they're to do. So yes, are they getting paid? I don't know if they're getting paid by the hour for coming to our awareness event. That's something you or that resident can check with the town accountant on, or
or bring it to the Board of Selectmen.
Or bring it to the Board of Selectmen.
This is not,
Some of the people probably were there to volunteer their time because they thought it was a good event and wanted to do it. I know the nurse was super excited to be there because she was giving out the flu shots that she was doing. So, you know, I really don't know why people would ask you about taxpayer money being used for this disability awareness event, but those people should really ask the town, or the Board of Selectmen to say, because every town employee works for the select board. So, select board is the most appropriate entity to answer that question, John.
Okay.
And I don't expect you to go ask them, I would expect that the resident, if they're so concerned about the budget, should go ask them directly, because it's an inappropriate question, if they knew what public servants do, which I don't think they actually know. So with that said, let's move on to the next item before I do lose my memory. Sorry. All right.
2019 budget.
Yes. So, you have that one.
Oh, yes. Do you have one?
I do. So, you know, you're,
So,
Break.
yes,
sure, yes.
we're taking a break.
Sorry about that. So the 2019 budget,
We're past our time.
are you all set? Are you,
I think he's stating that because we said 7:30 to 8:30 on the
Okay.
agenda, that we
So
passed our time, but I
that
think-
time is kind of just general guidelines, and that's an ideal, because we all have lives, and we're all volunteering here, and we all would like to keep these as short and effective and concise as possible. So that's why that time frame is on there. I'm happy to go beyond that. I don't know.
Well, I definitely want to get the budget part done.
Well, we need to do the budget,
Right.
so if you need.
Can I make a motion after this budget's done? A motion to, so what I'm looking for. Motion to adjourn after the budget?
You can make,
Well,
You can make the motion, but sure, you make the motion.
you can, but can we get through the budget first?
that's what I said. I make a motion that after the budget's done, we adjourn.
Well, we're not making, you want to make that motion right now?
No more business. No more business, that's my motion.
There is more business, and I'm
Well,
fine.
is there a second?
No.
Is there a second? Okay, there's no second for your motion. Okay, so major budget components.
So do we take out the role of the commission?
Yes.
So we'll take that out, so I'm gonna take that out for when I give this to Nancy Holt tomorrow. I'm just gonna give her the mission statement, and then, okay, and the major budget components.
I just maybe capture that.
Okay.
I'm just doing a good job. So, motion to adjourn after budget, and one seconded, motion to.
Major budget components.
So can you say that again, then? I'm sorry. I know I'm getting you the missions, the updated
Right,
mission
and I will
statement.
take out the FY 2019 departmental goals and objectives with key result area out of this.
Do we have to?
I'm going to ask her that. And if we do, I'm going to tell her that we're not going to have it until January.
Okay.
I think so, because our mission statement is a little more detailed, so that might
Right.
be okay.
Okay, so we have augment and enhance transportation options for individuals with disabilities at 2,000, fund access features within municipal projects, wheelchair for the new trails in the West End, or accessible bench, 1,500. Host a forum to bring service providers and community members together to raise awareness about accessibility issues in the town of Scituate, 1,000. Provide reasonable training and travel expenses for individuals on the Commission on Disabilities, 500. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I see you spending all the money back and forth and you're pigeonholed where there's no reserve. I wouldn't mind wording things like, because you said the event that you, whatever it was, your convention was like $300, you like almost tripled it. I wouldn't mind saying 300 up to, not over $1,000, so we have leeway for the other funds, like for training expenses, $500. There are 7 of you. If you don't want to go to one thing together, that may take it all away.
There's 6.
There are 6 of us. And the other thing is, the accessible features within municipal projects, those are all part of the handicap group. So that money won't come out of the budget. the $5,000 budget. We also can,
Then why don't you put it there? It seems like this is.
Budget, major-
Add for this, that's what I'm looking at.
So we have,
I'm adding it.
we were, I think, thinking that with $5,000, that was going to be a component of it. Because this will be the first time that we've never
okay.
just said, the whole $5,000 goes
Right.
towards transportation,
Right.
which is what,
So this is really the first year that
this is
they've
the first
come
time we've
back
ever,
here,
and asked us.
that they're giving us some leeway in how we spend it.
Yeah.
right, and so we need to, well, we'd have to get permission, but, okay, I see.
Yeah. So, but I think we should leave that, I think.
Right, and
that's-
yeah, and I think we can also ask them as the year goes on if we can use money for different things too. This does not include, so that's five, we've got,
Well, if you vote on it to spend it for this, you earmark it, and you really can't do it. It takes more work to undo that.
well, if we have to
Or
redo it,
it's- we have to do something.
right.
We can't just say, we'll use it at our discretion. I mean, we have to
Right.
say, this is used for this.
Mhm.
And that comes out of handicap, which is fine.
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
No.
okay, okay.
And,
Okay? You
And
can also say for training expenses and so on, up to $3,000, because you have a
that's too
$5,000.
much money.
Won't exceed. You can say a minimum 500, maximum 3.
I don't agree on that. I don't think we need that much training as volunteers, quite honestly.
I actually think of this conversation about the mission statement, there's more proof that you do.
I
Okay,
I think we
okay.
all bring our own unique features
I
to
think
the
that's
table.
a small amount.
And I understand that you've been to a cert, not, it wasn't certification, you went to a training.
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
Yes, so, understood.
Everyone
We
else
all
is
bring
better.
our
You can
unique-
have it.
Correct, and John, I mean, I go to trainings all the time for my license related to disability issues. It's for my license, so I pay for that. But we all bring different talents and skills to the table. I think a $500 budget item for trainings is,
I actually think it should
And on
be.
training last year?
okay.
Because that, well, there's 6 of us,
Right.
so
Do you know how much we used last year?
Last year.
that's 500, I would rather earmark more,
You see if I have last
because
year,
I
I will
haven't
tell
gone to
you.
any of the trainings.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we used last year. I have it right
I
here.
would say, I think it would be
The training, like, so I think we do like
100.
35.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's-
So 100 per person, you want to
There's
do?
some,
Depends on
there are
other-
trainings that are very, very
Budget
pricey, that are
report.
like private entities put on, that are for very specific skills.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
if you want to learn how to,
Like the abilities excellent.
The transition plan, MOD.
Yeah, like this,
and
this mass DOT thing
and
we went
training.
to.
Disability law, set up training things on mental illness, on blind, emergency evacuation preparations. I mean, they all
But
go
that's
into
the
a disability
2017
issue.
budget. How much
Correct.
did
And
we
it's
spend?
just, and in taking these classes, it actually, if you have them in prerequisites, it opens up funds and grants into tens of thousands, $1 million for the town. So the town benefits that someone has taken these courses.
I mean, I'm fine increasing it to a certain amount, and then taking away money from what though? From accessible
Do we need
features
to?
within
Do we need
municipal
to, like,
projects?
2,000?
What is that
You
what you're
have
saying, Michelle?
someone back
I was
there.
gonna say
Yes,
that,
This
oh,
month.
you'd have to take it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so it is, everything is 5,000, like that, those items that equal up to 5,000.
Okay.
I mean, well,
Because we could also do that, our HP parking would go for the accessible features, which
Right.
we're kind of thinking anyway. So we could take 500 from that, put
Right.
it down to for training, and 1,000
1,000
for training.
training, 1,000
And
1,000 for the
historically, I would
project.
say we probably spend.
Right, I was looking for the
We should
2017.
have been last year, was my question. Okay, so what's that? How was it school year?
We can get that information
I'm
back to you.
looking
Do you-
here, and I don't,
Well, we have to use on the benchmark. If that was spent, okay, and some didn't want to go, they cut it in half and multiply that by 7. If people want to go to the same course back and forth, then there's this. There are some courses that the prerequisite to continue to get funds and grants. There are some things that, because I gone to these 5 courses,
Then it shouldn't be coming from the Commission on Disabilities budget if it's something the town needs to be eligible for grants. Because we aren't applying for grants.
We had
You understand that,
2,000.
Right?
0 spent.
And for Safe Streets, the DOT thing that you went to, that was,
0?
what, 100 and something, or 200 bucks? I can't remember, they charge a lot of money for that. That isn't gonna help the town just because you went. It really is the highway department or the town officials that would need to go, not just the commissions to be eligible for funding, so.
Training, 2,000
I'm
spent.
not sure what other trainings he's going.
0 spent in 2017.
Right, and it all depends if they even logged it as training. I mean, it could have been-
Well, the transition plan, so on how to do with roads and streets and curb cuts and so on.
Right, the training that I do with DOT and federal highway, yes. Yes, I'm well aware of that training, John. And that training, just because you went, doesn't necessarily mean that the town's gonna get money. It's ultimately the town, like ADA coordinator, the town select board, other members of the town would have to go, not necessarily the commission.
And we don't have to pay for them to go.
Right, they would use their own
Right.
budgets. for
Right.
it. So I think if we were to put 1,000 in there, that's a high amount, but I think that would cover if anything unforeseen came up, and then we could transfer it back to wherever we need to put it.
So, and
So I think Megan, you had said that already.
So we're up to.
Oh,
Up to what?
I think up to, yeah, up to 1,000, and,
Okay.
yeah, just put it as 1,000 and put the, because we might use our HP parking plans for
So-
the second bullet,
Right.
then without.
right.
And that's what you would recommend. We just. I think that's the heat or something. Raise green. All right. Motion to accept with those changes.
Second.
Can I hear it?
pardon?
Can I hear what you did?
1,000.
Yep, so-
Because I wasn't seeing the physical thing being written down.
So John, the mission statement we changed, and we did the budget thing that you just said, that Megan had mentioned, was to lower the fund accessible features within municipal, fund accessible features within municipal projects from 1,500 down to 1,000, and to raise the provide reasonable training and travel expenses from 500 to 1,000. Those are the changes that we are accepting.
Okay, I had the other thing in regards to the formal, if you only spent 386, why is that almost, double, triple?
3 to 6 for what, John?
For the training.
Because you know what, Tom, it may grow exponentially. This was only our first year. and we
People
got-
loved it.
Right, so since I want to make sure that we have enough to actually hold a good event, not me personally, but I want to make sure that the commission holds a good event, and police detail alone was close to $300. So we may be doing more, and if they're going to allow us to do this because they think it's good for the residents, then I want to make sure we have a budget that can make it a good show for everybody.
We definitely need, one thing that we'll have to do is more marketing,
Yeah.
because people didn't
Yes.
know about it. To get the
Well,
word out.
I know Taliban, the conservation, because they do the same kind of thing, so we might want to
Yeah,
consider.
it's actually very different audiences.
Okay, so that's something we'll talk about when we do, talk about the accessibility event, so that'll be, so
All right, so motion on the table to accept the budget
the
with
components,
the changes.
the major budget components, yep.
And what was-
Did I move,
Athena seconded?
seconded, I moved to accept, and you seconded.
Okay. Did you get that?
Yeah, I'm going to have it as I motion to, because that's what I wrote. So I think you may have already started it, but I'll do it as a motion to accept. I will have you as a second.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to take a roll vote now. Athena, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Michelle, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Jeff, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
John, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote in favor too, motion carries. Yes, I did.
Yes.
Now, may I, oh, go ahead, I'm
And so
sorry.
the changes and send it to Nancy tomorrow?
Yes.
Is that, do you feel comfortable with that? I can do that as well. Because you'll get them.
Yeah, so who am I sending the revised mission statement to?
All of us.
All of us, and then,
Then somebody tell me that it's, that's what we promised.
Right.
All right. I will send it
do
to
you want
them.
me to do it, or do you want to do it? I told her I'd do it because I talked to her
Yeah,
tonight.
that's fine.
Okay, so So, do I have these, you first, I can do this on the computer, right? Okay. You sent that to me, right? Yes. Okay.
So, the next item is new business, possible dates for accessibility awareness event.
The dates I came up with, I haven't,
Motion to adjourn.
It was not,
But it died because no one seconded it, John.
I'm doing it now. Time went by, see someone second it.
okay, there's a motion to adjourn, any seconds? Okay, nobody seconded the motion, so we're moving on to the next item. Possible dates for accessibility awareness event.
okay, I came up with, I haven't called anyone, haven't talked to anyone in town about dates, but I came up with the September 29th is Saturday, and I came up with October 27th, because there are, I came up with those as dates, and possibly November 3rd, if we don't have another choice.
Are those all Saturdays?
Those are all Saturdays.
But October 27th wouldn't be a good idea because it's too close to Halloween. There's too many events in town. Too many things going on.
Weekend?
People wake up with
Saturday?
kids,
Okay.
Halloween parties. Everybody
Okay.
with children, it's like crazy time.
And I know that 10/20 isn't a good time because it's college.
No, I think
visit things.
November was good.
So, November
November
3rd.
Sounds good. Is that an election, is it?
That's what, November 6th is election day, November,
3rd. Right, 3rd is a Saturday.
right, I'm just looking at the,
And then the next weekend is Veterans Day, so we can't do that.
I think November 3rd.
What about, what does 9/29 look for people? Can people go back and think about that? September
Like
29th?
November 3rd?
I like number two.
If
I agree with
we
that.
can, I need to find a place, if we could do September 29th, personally, I prefer that date. I would make November 3rd happen.
Well, my viewpoint was it's still close to the council of aging, to the point they made before, that's usually close to their event.
What is
Well,
their-
I don't know, we'll coordinate with Linda Hayes, that's not a
I mean, we
problem.
still have enough time, but I think September isn't desirable either.
Okay, so November 3rd.
I just think September and October
Mm-hmm.
are very busy. Everybody getting back to school and November,
November 3rd.
you
So
have
I'm,
Thanksgiving and Veterans Day, but other than that, it's kind of quiet.
okay, so I'll look into that, and then I was gonna find out from the town where I would like to do the community center again, because people that came from Western Mass,
Right.
they were, the
They loved
providers,
it.
they loved it. They loved looking outside at the water.
Yeah, it was.
Like, that was a
great
beautiful,
space.
it was a great space.
Yeah.
And I will say, oh my goodness, the town groundskeeper, they cleaned
was
it up, so
excellent.
it was
Yeah.
wonderful. So,
I want to bring that up, we need to do thank yous,
Yes.
thank yous, and,
okay. No, it's okay, okay.
and
Yes.
since we're on TV, obviously thank everyone, which I think you guys did the last meeting, but I wasn't here, and especially all the vendors and
Yes.
townspeople, and all the people who came.
So do you want to take the people that you got in touch with? And
Yes.
send out one, and I'll get the ones that I got in touch
Yes.
with and send, we can send it out
As
as
the
the
commission.
commission.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that
I thought I wanted
okay?
to like get cards and write them out and sign
No,
them,
no.
but.
And I was gonna put something on Scituate Monthly, because for donations, it was Morning Glories, donated food, and Dunkin' Donuts, the owners of Dunkin' Donuts,
Yes.
donated all the Dunkin' Donuts, which was
That
unbelievable.
was great.
And the
Morning-
school, the kids.
And the kid.
For Shaw's?
Stop and Shop and Shaw's did the gift cards, which then we used for all the snack items. So that was excellent. And we had plenty of food. And the one thing I would do next year is to have food set up for the volunteers when they first got there, because they were happy, they were donating their time.
Right, but we had them there too early anyway.
Yeah, but I still think it was.
Oh, absolutely, but I
Yeah.
think we were all there too early to set up.
Yeah,
First time.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and yeah, and then we'll talk about the other stuff later.
and then
So-
the community service hours, we
Right.
need to confirm that everybody got their hours. I can do that,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So how about this?
How about we come up, if we can come up with the same thank you.
Yeah,
Can I invite you to say, by Megan, to say, this is our thank you, because they know,
we have all the
We have the
contacts,
contacts.
yeah.
but we do say the same thing.
Mhm.
Save next year, November 3rd, be there or be square.
Yeah,
We want you again. Thank you, sort of thing.
yeah.
Okay, does that sound okay?
So I motion that Athena and Michelle will come together with a uniform thank you letter and a reminder of the upcoming event that will be for November. To then just have it checked by the chair, because ultimately it's your name on it that will be saying thank you, or from the commission. You can say from the commission.
From the commission.
You guys can work that out, but
Because you guys did
Oh, let's say.
essentially, that's a subgroup, so you can just, I mean, I vote that the subgroup made up of Athena, Michelle, and Megan work on getting the thank yous out to the vendors and the parties that
Okay.
and then report back next month on
Okay,
status.
so we can get it back, that'd be great.
And the other thing that I think would be great to do is, when you were doing the artwork, is to have something on display. You know what I mean? To have artwork on display for students that have disabilities that do artwork, and try to get the students intent.
Right,
you know.
well, I would like to get the IXL
Yeah.
program there, and the head of it, the teacher, she wasn't available, but,
So the motion on the table is to
Do all that.
do.
With the subcommittee of
Yeah.
three, which is less than the majority.
I totally dropped the ball.
stuff great, please, and let us go away.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I second it.
So we're gonna do a voice vote. Michelle, how do you vote?
In favor.
Athena, how do you vote?
In favor.
Jeff, how do you vote?
In favor?
John, how do you vote?
Remember what the motion was for? I was caught.
It's for the subcommittee made up of Athena, Michelle, and Megan to work on thank yous and save the date cards and to be sent out to the vendors that were there at the awareness. You'll need to wait to send the thank
I
yous.
apologize.
Ready to wait
I
to
was wrong.
second. Okay. So in favor, I vote in favor, so motion carries unanimously. So the next thing is correspondence received. I received from Mass Office on Disability information about Governor Baker signing legislation to increase penalties for handicap parking fraud and abuse. I don't know if I read about that in the newspaper. Very
How much?
interesting. quote.
So it's not the actual fine that we receive, that the commission receives, it's actually the fines for people who are using the actual placard for fraudulent use of the placard.
Okay.
So those have severely, and then the email outlines it on, I think you shared it with the commission, I'm not sure if you sent it to the commission members, but if you
Not
could.
correspondence, but if you want to, if you guys want to take a look at that. I sent it to John.
Okay, all right. So there's a little longer list of it, but in our office, as well as many other agencies, worked on the task force. This was basically a result from the Inspector General's study that they did.
So is this something the town police would enforce?
Yep, yeah,
Okay,
town police,
okay.
enforce, state police, you know, it's the whole gamut.
And it's
Okay.
like the criminal case.
Right, yeah, there's the civil sides and criminal sides to
Right.
both, all of this, but the criminal side, the fines went up and the penalties went up, loss of license went from, I think, 30 to
Because
60
they
days.
have your photo on yours?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, they have to.
So some major improvements, or
Yep.
stronger language has been made to try to curb
That's great.
the abuse that's happening.
Yeah.
So,
So did you see that? We also, I think, everybody just in receipt of the letter from Jean Batty. Pass that around again.
I don't need to see it, you saw it.
And is there anything, has anybody found out anything about what happened to that bus? or-
But was waiting to come back to the commission. I feel like she's taken it to the proper.
I think it's not a-
We can
okay,
look into
it's
it.
not-
I don't-
okay.
So from what she sent to the town clerk that then sent it to everybody
Yeah.
here, one of the items was the FOIA request, the records request, which
Mhm.
the school committee responded to.
Right.
So that question of having the commission look into that has already been
It's moved, it's all
addressed,
taken care of.
because they
Okay.
have addressed it under the public records request. that
Right.
she made.
Okay,
And it's also being dealt with by the school committee and by, I believe, the select board. I think they're part of it.
And I
Through
think-
whatever process she's going, so,
Okay.
you know, we've got it, I don't.
I
see
think we
what
have
can
it,
do.
no, we've seen it. We have it, we noted that we received it, done. We're done with it. She lives in California, done.
That's the school bus number 12, right? But I don't know.
I don't know, but it has nothing to do with us. We sent it on to the committee, the commission that needs to deal with it. So that's,
When something comes to us that has something to do with us, and then you can't jump us up, and then you want to throw it to somebody else, that's fine. But once we touch it,
So John,
So we are in
that,
receipt of the letter. It sounds like it's
and that's what
saying,
they say.
pardon?
I agree with that. We don't have to do with it. We got it. It's kind of a correspondence. I don't,
We are in receipt of the letter. It sounds like it's being addressed in the appropriate ways and the appropriate manners. And it's not, doesn't really pertain to us.
it's moot, everything's.
well, the issue is, the right people have this letter, John. The school committee and the board of selectmen have it. That's where Jean Batty is addressing and should be resolving these issues with those particular entities. As a commission, we've received it, and the question that she asked for us to investigate the use of that bus, she already got the response from the school committee from the public records request, so therefore, the request to us to look into it,
Jeff, I agree with all that.
It's moving.
But the thing that said we have nothing to do with it, it's like, no, we got a correspondence.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a regular correspondence, and we touched it, we have something to do with it. And we relayed the information to the right people.
Okay, understood, okay. So that was the other first one. she said. Any matters not reasonably anticipated in 48 hours in advance of the meeting? No. Next meeting.
Before you return, okay? I am going to need more of this remote device.
Okay?
So please plan accordingly.
so, John, just procedurally, can you, when you know that you won't be coming to a meeting, can you email Megan to let her know that you will need this device? I know you're saying you need it as a blanket, but can you do it by meeting by meeting?
The so-called surgeries in the immune system.
I'm not asking for your medical history on live TV. What I'm asking for is, can you just request, can you do it as a monthly request, month by month? Just because we'd like to have you at the meeting, rather than doing it remotely, but, or at least I would like to have you at the meeting.
Till March, so at least till March. I
Okay,
get an official thing now.
okay, so you, okay, so,
So
okay.
you will be remotely participating. So any documents need to be sent.
I'm hoping for a miracle, at least till March.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we don't need a monthly, well, okay. I'll make that as a note. Okay. All right, we'll make a motion to adjourn.
I
Second?
second it.
Oh, I wanted to push that. I agree.
So,
Happy holidays.
okay.
Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas,
Sounds
everybody.
like John's in favor, Michelle.
I'm in favor.
Okay, Athena.
Happy holidays.
That-
Opposed? No, I'm in
All
favor.
right. I'm in favor, motion carries unanimously. Meeting adjourned, okay. John, I'm turning this off. Have a wonderful Christmas and we'll see you in the new year.
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye.
John.